Our guest is Frank Pavich, founder of Black Hills Nationals. We're going to talk about that. But first, Frank, inquiring minds want to know how you got involved with the Big 12. You've been a referee there and still involved.
Yeah, Dwight. I've had a passion for wrestling my whole life. My story is wasn't a great wrestler. I was a average to above average wrestler, but I really found solace in the sport. My dad died when I was a freshman in high school, and it was something that I was really needing to replace a void in my life, and that's why I have such a love and such a passion for this sport, and I try to give back to it consistently. How I got involved with officiating. I started coaching wrestling. I was up in Lee Deadwood as a junior varsity and a varsity coach for about 3 years. And then I decided that I wanted to get into the officiating ranks. I had a friend of mine invite me over to become an official. And 35 years later, here I am. Well, going through that journey, I've refereed multiple state tournaments in South Dakota, but I recognized that my son, Preston, my oldest son, was going to have the talent to be a college wrestler. And he wrestled for the University of Wyoming for 4 years, and he was able to get a scholarship. And now he is a head wrestling coach and a teacher down in Fort Collins, Colorado for Fossil Ridge High School. Knowing that I was going to go from a high school platform to a college platform 2 years prior to him going into the college ranks, I started reffing college wrestling in about 2002. 20 years later, here I am. I've been fortunate enough to have a career with multiple conferences, the old Western Conference, which now melded into the Big 12, the Atlantic Coast Conference, and I've been fortunate enough to be selected to referee and I've been selected multiple times to referee the Division I national tournament. I believe I'm the only South Dakotan to be selected for that, and I've had a great career. And now my career is at the point where I was with the Big 12 for about 5 years. I had one more year left on my contract this year, and I decided that I really need to take a mentorship role. So I stepped aside and didn't renew my contract for this year. I talked to my assigner, who's a very dear friend of mine, and Kenny Ritchie out of Oklahoma, and I just said it's time for me to step aside to make room for younger guys coming up the ranks. So we have an organization in college wrestling called the ICWA, Intercollegiate Wrestling Officials Association, and I'm the mentorship chairman for that. And I help write the platform for mentorship for college wrestling, and with the ICWA, and I run the program. I have a budget annually. My job is to get officials working throughout the nation in tournaments or dual meet competitions. So if that tournament is already full with officials that are hired by that school, and there's no room, we have the funds available to fund an official. So it's really blossomed into quite the mentorship program in building referees, because every sport has the same problem, getting younger people to have thick enough skin to become an official. I've been at this a lot of years. And there's a lot of times where you have to be very thick-skinned, and growing as that younger official into a veteran official, there's a lot of lumps you take along the way. And but I can't think of a more satisfying, rewarding journey I've been on, and it's not done yet. I'm just shifting gears, and it's given me the capacity to grow the Black Hills Nationals wrestling tournament like it's growing, and giving back to a lot of people. And the sport was good to me. I feel obligated to give back to it.
Frank, you founded and created Black Hills Nationals. How'd that all start?
The vision, Dwight, started again with my oldest son, Preston, getting into the school, into elementary school, and recognizing the fact that he was probably going to wrestle, probably play football and other sports. So I, in 1994, I started Black Hills Nationals wrestling camps, and I brought in that year, I was fortunate to bring in Tom Brands, the head wrestling coach for the University of Iowa, and his brother-in-law happened to live up in the Black Hills area. He worked for a state's attorney up here, and we became friends, and he was my connection in. So from that first year going forward, this is our 29th year, I believe, doing Black Hills Nationals wrestling camps, and it's always the first week of June at Spearfish High School. Well, from that, what evolved was Black Hills Nationals Wrestling Tournament. And me and a good friend of mine, Paul Soriano, who was my assistant director, and we both had sons the same age who were both best of friends, John Soriano and Preston Pavich. And Paul and I said, you know, these kids are going to want to wrestle. We're gonna make an effort to take them to any wrestling tournament around the nation that they wanted to participate in. Well, that soon got contagious because we were taking other kids too. We just opened up, you know, the opportunity to other kids. We raised a lot of the funds. I funded a lot of the funds with my own pocket, and but we saw some great competition and gave opportunities to these young boys that they wouldn't want to had. And through my travels and through my officiating experiences, Paul and I got to referee a lot of these tournaments that we would go to. We'd bring our reffing gear, and they would be short an official or two, so we'd jump in. Pretty soon, we became a kind of a staple at these national tournaments. And that's how I got my skill set developed, is by reffing these tournaments after the season, reffing summertime tournaments, developing networks with other officials, watching other officials, you know, officiate, and developing a style and understanding that you know, your mechanics, there's a lot that goes into it, mechanics, you know, position, all that stuff. It made me a better official. And so I went to, actually it was the Adidas Sports, who was a sponsor of AAU Wrestling at the time. And I asked the figurehead there, I said, would you be interested in helping me sponsor and get off the ground a national wrestling tournament in Spearfish, South Dakota? We needed one in this area. And I saw that vision. And he said, I'll do this for 2 years. I'll give you you know, I want the gate, I want this, I want that, but I'll fund the trophies and the medals and everything that you were doing for awards, T-shirts, so forth and so on. So that's really how it started. And from there, it was such a success that AAU wanted to make it the home of the World Folk Style Tournament for the Amateur Athletic Union. So Dwight, we've just taken it from there. We have such a core group of people that help with this. I have such a great board of directors. We run everything as a board of directors. We funded kids. The amount of scholarships that we've funded in so many different facets over the last 20 years with that tournament, and over the last 29 years with camps, has been substantial. It's been significant. You know, I see kids wrestling in the college ranks now that wrestled in Black Hills Nationals as kids. So that's very gratifying for me. But so it does a lot of goodwill. We've funded 3 mats now, you know, full wrestling mats that are graphic mats, and then we let communities and other entities use them. It really works out pretty good. I don't know if you recall the story of the 2 wrestlers from Northwest Community College that was just mauled by the bear October 15th. There were 2, and if you hadn't, there was 2 wrestlers mauled by a grizzly bear that go to school at Northwest Community College in Powell, Wyoming. Well, that university is near and dear to my heart because that was one of the universities that gave me my start in college wrestling. And I reached out to the coach, Jim Ziegler, and I'm always the head referee at their beginning tournament and then at their Apodaca-duels at the last week of January. And I asked, what can I do to help? And he said, you know, these guys are going to have some medical bills. I was able to create a funding mechanism through Black Hills Nationals, and we were able to give those 2 boys $1,000 towards their medical. So it you know, the veins this tournament has for philanthropy and help is significant, and it provides such a good economic base for our communities. It gives the opportunity for local kids to come wrestle, you know. And sometimes last year we had 1,300 wrestlers from 26 different states, Massachusetts to Hawaii and everywhere in between. That was huge. I mean, that really made me smile. And everybody leaves the Black Hills Nationals with a good taste in their mouth. They're happy. We run it over 2 days. We run 4 divisions on Friday, and we run 5 divisions on Saturday. And if you're 6 and under, or you're old guys like you and I, we can wrestle in it. So we have age divisions. We have 9 different age divisions. So and multiple weight groups for those age divisions. So it's been a very good and very proven tournament.
and one of the biggest sports events in South Dakota.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I think our head count was right at about 6,000 people last year. And again, like I said, the economic footprint it provides to the northern Black Hills and Rapid City is significant. It's huge. High school wrestling season's upon us now, and I've been well into the college wrestling season right now for over a month, but now we're seeing the high school ranks come in, and I just want to say good luck to all the teams in the Black Hills and the South Dakota in our region. One thing that it excites me is to see girls wrestling and having their own division to wrestle in, and that's going to pay a lot of dividends. There's a lot of girls. A young girl out of Spearfish here has just signed with a top college to wrestle. It's just really exciting to see this. It's exciting to see so many girls participating in the sport of wrestling and them having a place to go. And that's our mission is to give people opportunities. And I'm really excited to see that. One of my assistants for the wrestling tournament, Joel Martin, he's a head wrestling coach for the girls in Spearfish, and Cody Powers, who is also a very key element in our wrestling organization, is the assistant coach, and they're both doing a fantastic job. But across the board in the state, and in the nation, really, you're seeing girls wrestling that's going to be a very impactful presence in the sport of wrestling, and it should be. And it should have been for a long, long time, and I'm glad to see the opportunities that we have these girls in, all the guys, and it's fun to see. I haven't refereed a lot of high school in the last couple of years. I'm going to take a couple duels this year. I think I have Spearfish Stevens, and then I have Stevens Central. I just want to encourage people out there. If you want to get into officiating, please do. Get a hold of me. Get a hold of an official. We'll show you how it's done. We really need younger officials to take the reins and teach them how to officiate. So we can keep that circle going. I appreciate you guys always coming in and jerking my chain for an interview. It's appreciated, and it provides a lot of value. What you do is such a valuable thing to so many different facets around the Black Hills and sporting events and just community events, and we appreciate what you guys do. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Frank, and always great to visit with you.
You too. You guys have a Merry Christmas.